Hi everybody, welcome to Gunpla TV.
Hey guys.
Brought to you by HobbyLink Japan. This is episode 214.
214?
Yeah, and Todd's with me here because Ryan's out of the office today.
Yep.
We can't wait, we got a lot of stuff to show.
Nope.
And we do have an announcement to make.
What's that, Sid?
Well, the announcement is HG Parts campaign.
Oh.
People have been kind of aware of it and asking us questions through the social media and our blog and stuff like that. But we were not allowed to provide details.
That's right.
But now we're going to provide some details.
Okay.
This campaign should be starting when you watch this.
Oh.
That's right. It should be live now.
Okay.
All you have to do is you have to order from a list of the eligible kits we have.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a
bunch of stock. We have tons of stock on
good
on
kits.
a lot of these.
Good kits, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Well, any kit that qualifies for the parts.
Right.
You order that kit and you ship it, and when they're packing up your stuff, they're gonna put the parts in there.
Right.
Right?
So if it's just sitting in private warehouse.
Well, if you've already ordered it and you choose to ship your private warehouse,
yes,
then they'll be putting it in there. However, if you order something and put it in your private warehouse, by the time you get around to shipping it, those parts might be gone.
Right.
Because remember, it's while supplies last.
Right. So be sure to ship your stuff.
Be sure to ship your stuff. Yeah.
If you want those parts.
If you want it on the parts campaign, because we got a pallet of parts downstairs, but once it's gone, we can't get any more.
Supplies are limited.
Supplies are limited. Place your orders now. Ship your orders now.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have to talk about all these kits we have on the table.
Okay,
here.
you got a lot of plastic on the table.
We got a lot of plastic on the table. But we do have 2 new kits come in.
Okay.
So let's look at the first one here, the Barbatos DX. Todd, do you remember what the big draw is for the Barbatos DX?
I think it's all forms in one kit.
That's right. You get all the parts you will need to make all the Barbatos forms.
Plus that long distance transport booster, I think.
Yeah, that thing there too. Well, let's have a look here.
Man, you get so much.
You get so much stuff.
Ooh.
You can see you got the weapons on there.
Okay.
Of course, you got the V fin for your SD Barbatos.
You know, these weapons really, you can use them with the HG kit, I'm pretty sure.
Look at all the stickers you got there, because you're going to be doing up all 6 forms.
Oh,
right?
man.
Lots of stickers. And then, look at there's the transport you were talking about. It's
yeah.
just one big
block of plastic.
There you go. Cool, though. You'll be putting some stickers on that, that's for sure. So, of course, HG, you had to buy various kits and put them all together to make your 6 forms.
Right.
1/100s as well. Well, this time, 1 box.
1 box
6 kits.
for all of them.
Yes,
Such a great deal.
There you go. Okay, now, next kit I want to show is the latest from Macross Delta.
Oh, Macross.
The Draken. What is it? Yeah, the Draken 3. It's Keith Aero Windermere's use. They say use, but the kit, the plain youth buy such and such guy. Now,
right.
Yeah, we could open up. We could show you all the parts, but unless you're going to put it together on the show, you can't really explain what you're seeing there. But I'd like to point out that this guy has totally different wing design from the other Macrosses there.
So it's a
when he goes into like this mode, that shield, maybe that's where the wings come
different design here.
Different design.
It looks nice.
It looks nice.
I'm sure transforming it's fun.
Yeah, it might be as complicated as the other one. I don't know if we'll get time to show this on the show.
Oh
man. I don't know if we'll get time to show this on the show because we're still knee deep in all these things and all these things. And one thing I realized that is Macross people can really have an opinion if you handle something incorrectly. Holy cow! Yeah. Oh, you didn't handle that mollucket properly, Todd. What's wrong with you?
I don't know, man.
I know. Maybe we'll give it another crack. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, just take it from us. These Bandit Macross kits are like engineered to do so much.
Right.
So when you actually have to try and get your hands in there to move some stuff around, it can be a little shady. But just sure look good, man.
They do look good. Once you just get it set in form.
I want to see if I can find that. That's what I want to find. Look at that thing.
Oh.
Like, it's not enough that you have to be pretty precise with your nipping and stuff like that to make sure that all the gate marks are the way, because this thing's going to transform every which way. But then you're going to get these water slides, and you're going to put all these guys on.
That's a lot of slides.
Once you get all these on, then it's going to look, like this big bad boy here.
Yeah, that's going to be spectacular.
Yeah, but
fantabulous.
A lot of effort is needed to get this result, that's for sure. So, it's like Gundam step up.
Right.
Transforming Gundams can be hit or miss, but these things are designed to transform right from the start, and that's all they do. And they're tough. So, we'll put that there. And I'll take that box back.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We'll decide what's going on with this afterwards. Now, I want to show the full Armor Gundam Ver Ka Thunderbolt version again.
Okay.
Because I felt that, we talked about it on the show. Right. We talked about it as complete.
Right.
But we didn't talk about kind of how to assemble it. And there's some tricks that you need to be aware of, I found, in some areas. Plus, you know, we have these joints here, these joint covers to go on. And they can be hit or miss as well, so I want to kind of share some experience I have with those. So it could be that when I'm talking about my full armor Thunderbolt kit, it could take a significant chunk of time.
Okay, well, that's a big kit. Lots to talk about.
Because of that, I know you got 3 kits done.
3.
4 if you count the pod.
Yeah, I guess so.
I was thinking, Todd, if you don't mind, can we hit up the Hyakushiki today? Because it's number 200. And then next week, you can talk about the Gyancelot and the ZZII in more detail. How's that sound?
That works.
Okay. So do you want to go first?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
All right, guys. So here we are back again, and we are with HG kit number 200, the MSN 00100 Hyakushiki AEUG Attack Use Prototype Mobile Suit.
Yeah, kit number 200 is actually mobile suit number 100, right?
Right. Well, as far as the MS mobile suit number.
Well, the Hyaku means 100.
Hyaku means 100. That's right.
There you go.
So he's not the ni Hyaku.
That's right.
This is like some old grandpa jokes.
That's right.
Grandpa jokes.
You know what they're called in Japanese? Dajare.
Dajare?
Those are grandpa jokes. So there you go. We're busting out the dajare
here.
Okay.
Okay, so excuse us for the crappy old jokes.
There you go.
Anyway,
puns, we got them.
Puns we're full of.
Okay.
Back to the kit.
Yep.
So, the first thing you guys notice looking at this, look at that color.
Yeah, it's gold.
So what do you think? It looks pretty good? It doesn't look bad.
It looks more gold than some of the yellowish things they've tried to pass off for gold in the past.
Some of those other like special editions and whatnot. Yeah, it's a bit different tone to it, I guess. Just looking at it, it looks gold enough, I think. Because the very first Hyakushiki HG kit we got was the gold-plated one.
Yeah.
So they decided to go different for this kit and gave us the molded injected gold, which for people that like to paint their kits after, that's actually going to be beneficial because you don't have to worry about stripping off that
the
plated gold chrome looking plastic, and you just can straight go out and paint this on your own without having to worry about that.
I think they're trying to keep like this HGC or Revive or something like that. It seems to me that they're trying to keep them below a certain price point. They've all been very inexpensive for what you get.
Right.
So I think that if they were to plate this like they did the Delta Gundam, that it would all of a sudden become
a
4,000 yen.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
is that the last plated HG kit that you can remember?
I believe it was a Delta.
Right. We had those like titanium special edition stuff before too.
Yeah. They've done like titanium versions of the Sasabi and the Shinanju and the Unicorn.
The Unicorn. I did the Unicorn one.
Yeah.
That wasn't so bad.
Yeah, it's just they get heavy and they get pricey.
They do. But speaking of that that was something I wanted to mention that I noticed building this kit. A lot of these gold parts, most of the gold parts are undergated.
Okay.
So I think they have that idea in mind at some point, just because of how this kit is and the history of this kit. Maybe there will be a plated version at some point because there was lots of undergating on here. So
or maybe there was the plan to do it and they changed their mind because of price.
That could be too. So who knows? But just wanted to mention that yes, the gold parts on this kit, there is a lot of undergating. So
that's good to know.
You don't have to worry too much about numbarks, really, come to think about it.
That's good.
But, so yeah, now that's mentioned...
That means you can just grab a can of gold paint and paint it on the runner.
If you really wanted, yeah.
Come on, it's undergated. Just paint the runner.
I think I saw that... GSI Krios will be releasing a special Hyakushiki gold color.
They might be collaborating with that, eh?
Well,
maybe that's what they're going for.
That's right, but unfortunately, that's those type of paint things we can't sell to you guys, though.
So let's talk about the kit then.
Let's talk about the kit. All right, so this is a Revive kit. So if you guys have seen the Revive kit, the Revive review for the RX 78, I felt in a lot of ways it was kind of a bit similar to that one, to be honest. So same with that kit. This kit also, you actually kind of have a full inner frame going on with this kit. Let me see if I can pull off some, maybe not all of the parts, but let me try and pull off a few of these parts just to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
So you get the
You
full.
can't see it already.
You get full frame. Yeah, let me see if I can maybe pull off some more of these leg armors. There you go. As I manhandle this, I don't have my parts separator with me, and I'm just using. Whoa! There it goes, and there it goes on the floor.
Be smarter, Todd.
Catch it faster. There we go.
There. We have
Look
the
at
we have a
this.
few of these.
Ooh, 30th anniversary.
That's right. That thing's 5 years old now. Collector's item.
Collector's item. We're just full of collector's items here. So there you go. You guys can kind of see it. I'll just leave that.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah. So you get a nice inner frame going on with this HG kit.
Mm-hmm.
And the arm also has it. I guess I won't bother pulling off the parts for that one, just to give you guys a kind of idea what to expect here with this kit.
Yeah.
So I always like when I see these HG kits. So the Iron-Blooded Orphans, we got a lot of that, of course. Is
Yeah.
HG kits with the full inner frames. It's moving in that direction. They steal a lot of the technology they developed for the RG line, and it just trickles its way down to the HG line.
Mm.
So that's really good to see. And some other stuff I want to mention. Now that I have this part off, they did a nice job kind of with giving us different colored parts, and so we have not just stickers, but some good color separation going on in here. And speaking of that, also, whoops, his antenna's got to fly off there. If you can kind of see in here on this shoulder, I thought this was kind of cool when I was building it. I was like, wow, they went through the effort of molding in the red plastic here. So we've got like a red plastic layer underneath the shoulder with the holes in the gold to show off the red parts underneath.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking when I was building it, like, wow, that's nice. Just like these tiny little parts. Like I would figure usually that's something that they would just handle with a sticker.
Yeah.
But no, they actually have that molded in plastic. But no, actually they do give you stickers.
Just in case, eh?
You get stickers to cover up those nicely molded in red details just because it's missing a little bit of black, I guess. So
Oh, okay.
if you don't want to be honest, I didn't want to put these stickers on just because I like the way it looks now.
Yeah.
And if you really, really have to have this black, it would be so much easier just to take a Gundam marker
Just color.
and just go in there and cover up that line than using these stickers. But
Okay.
I guess they felt the effort was worth it to go in and print off these stickers for those small parts.
Okay.
But you have that option. And while I have these stickers out, I want to mention the different kind of, you get your choice of eye stickers.
Okay.
So if you can see on my guy, I chose just kind of the standard red eyes, just normal looking red eyes with a black background. But they give you an option for a more kind of digitized look, scrambled eye type of thing. And then there's another sticker for just the regular black face, if you want to choose that option.
These 3 eye colors is something we saw with the MG 2.0. You could rebuild the head and stick in the piece that you wanted.
Right, that one they actually gave you the different pieces to do it.
Exactly.
Here you just get the stickers.
Oh, it's HG.
It's HG, that's right, so you don't have to worry about it. If you were to try to paint this digitized one with the scrambled lines, I was just trying to think of how you would be able to pull that off, because those are some really, really tiny lines. I would probably just give up and use the sticker, to be honest.
Maybe you just take a knife and put some grooves in there and then dry brush or something.
Ah, okay. Or try to like scribe them in and paint the scribed lines red and then
Gundam
just
marker.
Gundam mark it over it.
Paint it red and scribe it in. Man, let's not get hung up on this.
All right. So moving on. Moving on. So articulation on this kit is also it's pretty good. He's able to pull off the full splits.
Jean-Claude Van Damme high kick.
Although now there we go. He can do the helicopter move, or he can probably balance himself on just the one foot. So articulation is pretty good. He's got some pretty nice leg bends.
Yeah.
So pretty similar to what we've seen with the other Revive kits that are kind of the same style as this one, like that 78.
Yeah.
There we go. And we do get the stickers here for the Hyaku mark, They give you some for the back, but I didn't bother putting those on. You won't really be able to see them on the back anyway, and I just kind of wanted to show you how they are on the
Put them on the wings.
on the sticker sheet. On the wings.
Yeah, do it.
Sure. Eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Not now. Alright, but also weapons. Alright, so we got the 60, I believe this is the 60mm cannon, and we also have the bazooka, but this isn't just any bazooka, this is a clay bazooka.
Okay.
So it's a nice square look. This is the Hyakushiki bazooka.
Okay.
And we have the 2 yellow beam sabers, because one is not enough, you need 2.
That's right.
Alright, and on the back...
Oh yeah, the saber handles, right?
The saber handles. Alright, so they give you a nice kind of nifty thing to just hold on these handles onto the back here that you can plug in and use for your beam sabers there.
There you go.
There you go. So yes, this is like all the other revives. This is a pretty great kit, I think. Got great articulation. It looks great. Nice restyle to it. It's a pretty decent kit. If you like the Hyakushiki, you should buy this.
Celebrate number 200.
This is kit number 200. Okay, so there you have it. There's the bling bling gold Hyakushiki kit number 200.
200. That's a big one.
It is.
We're like 214. Bandai's only at 200.
200. Okay,
wow,
who's going to reach 300
episodes
first?
than do them all kits. No. No, we don't. No, we don't.
Well, there's all the special episodes too, and don't forget boss builds.
There you go. Toy Goku. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we are all over it. What'd you think? You liked it?
Yeah, not bad. It's got, I mean, it's got that full inner frame like I mentioned.
Yeah.
So.
I just like the proportions of it. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Okay. Now you have another small HG thing you wanted to show.
I do.
Yeah, and this is the crane.
This is the Northern Pod.
The Northern Pod. We saw this at the Shizuoka Hobby Show.
Right.
Yeah, when we saw it, it had different parts or whatever. There was a kit involved with it. Remember which one it was?
Ah, there was.
Yeah.
What was that?
What was that one? It was a Force Impulse. Remember I mentioned it last episode. I've got my HGCE Force Impulse here.
Okay, can
I
have
said
it?
you could use him. So you can use him. But the Force Impulse is one of the coolest MS around, so don't hurt him, alright?
Okay, I'll be gentle.
Okay.
Alright guys, so here we are back again, this time with the Northern Pod. So this is one of those little Build Fighters customized kit things that they give you the option that you can build it as a nifty, cool looking kind of fighter looking plane, or Condor I think it was you said.
Okay.
Flight of the Condor. So you can build it in this form, although I don't actually come to think of it, there's nowhere to attach it onto a stand if you just wanted to display it like this, but it's nifty. It's got the thrusters on the back and thrusters all around. It's nice sharp blade. But there's also other stuff that you can do with this.
Okay.
And to do that, I'm going to need to borrow your... Ta-da!
Yeah, I told you can use it.
Okay, so this was the Revive Force Impulse Gundam.
Yeah.
So, although we haven't seen the anime series yet, I do believe that... What was her name? Kaoruku Sasaki?
Kaoruko Sasaki, yeah.
Kaoruku Sasaki, and she's the one that pilots the Gyancelot. She has, in Build Fighters and Try, each team has 3 fighters, so of course she's just like a big girl, and she's like the main person, so she fights by herself using the Gyancelot, but she has 2 people that help her, and they both use the Force Impulse apparently.
Okay.
So to let
Good
you
choice.
guys model, it's not a bad choice, a good choice for a support unit, I guess. So to help you guys model that entire team if they want, they give you the weapon sets and some other parts to help you do that. So let's take a look, shall we, at what we can do with this kit.
Okay.
Alright.
Come the instructions.
Let's look on the instructions. Make sure I don't forget. Alright, so let's do the first thing here.
Let's take everything apart, right?
Let's just take it all apart. Alright, so take off these 2 round things here. And you can connect them like so. And they give you another part here. There we go. Kind of like a little handle thing that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And let's take off his shield here. There you go. So they kind of give you a new looking shield. Whoops, that's not going to work for that arm. Oh, this is going to go on the head. Or a new weapon, I should say. A blade weapon.
Okay.
There you go. So that's one option that you could do.
Mm-hmm.
Although speaking of shield, I do believe, although it might not actually be a shield, you can also steal the wings from this one and connect them together. They give you another adapter. There you go. And you can make a new kind of weapon looking shield. Well, let's use his other hand here. There you go.
Okay.
Alright. Well,
Doesn't plug into a hole in his arm?
the problem with the Force Impulse is you don't have a whole arm.
That's right.
You
It's a
have-
different design. A square.
You have a square. So if you have an HG kit that has the hole in the arm for the shield, then you
Yeah.
could probably plug this on into the arm as a shield. But
I see.
we don't have that option with this kit, so he can only hold them.
Yeah.
But that's okay. There you go. Alright.
Okay.
But wait, there's more.
Of course. Just keep taking
Alright,
parts
so
off.
let's take this part off. Alright, so I believe this part also, if you want to use, you can use this one as the backpack
Oh, okay.
on one of the kits.
That's cool.
Looks nice, gives us an interesting look there.
It's much taller.
Yeah, it's getting much taller. Although you get two backpacks with this kit. Let me check that out.
Okay, I guess it depends which version of the support you
Right, well there's two different ones,
Yeah.
so they give you two different options, two different looks. So the other part, the other
Okay.
backpack part,
Oh, that's cool.
that'll plug in, give you another look there.
Mm-hmm.
Looks pretty cool.
There you
Alright,
go.
so two backpacks, two different weapons,
Mm-hmm.
but also we have two more weapons, and these are going to be guns.
Okay.
So it kind of, what do you think? If you look at this, what would you think this is?
Looks like an axe from that video.
It does look like an axe, doesn't it?
But it's not.
Well, if you really want it,
I guess it could be.
you could use it as an axe, but also it's a. Let me plug this in here. It's a gun.
Okay.
It's an axe gun.
Watch out, everybody.
Watch out now, and you get two axe guns. All right, so these are basically
The same thing.
the same thing.
Okay.
So you can swatch. Maybe you can swap out the barrel if you want.
Okay.
All right, so two of that. So this whole Northern Pod is kind of a theme of twos, right?
Yeah.
So there's one more thing, and this is going to completely change the look of the Force Impulse.
Even more than you already have?
I know. Can you believe it?
No, not until I see it.
This is just amazing.
Okay.
You ready for it?
I think so.
Okay. So it's time to do a little bit of face-off.
Okay.
Ta-da!
This is
Look at that.
John Travolta or Nicolas Cage?
Oh.
I say.
Which one would you
Which
say?
one would you say? Actually, switch the other one on. I'll tell you.
Okay, I gotta say, I would say Travolta for
Okay, you
this
said
one.
that's Travolta? Okay, let's
I would
see
say
what the next
Travolta
face
for
looks
this
like.
one. I have a reasoning for that.
Oh,
All right,
wait,
so
okay.
head two.
Head two. Well,
Bam!
it seems flat and devoid of emotion.
But this one
I'd say that's Nicolas Cage.
It is definitely a bit more crazy. That's why I voted for Cage.
Okay, so this is Nicolas Cage.
This is
Gundam.
Nicolas Cage. So you kind of got your more bland, regular Travolta head,
Okay.
or crazy Nicolas Cage head. You have your choice. Face off. All right, so there you have it. That's the Northern Pod.
Yeah, Force Impulse really looks a lot different when you change
It
his head up.
does. That spiffy new helmet.
That's what it looks like, a helmet. Like the double V fins where it's hair and then had to put the helmet on and it's hairs underneath. It looks a
Just
little,
a helmet cover.
yeah, it looks, I don't know what it looks like. It doesn't look like a Gundam when I look at that.
Oh, that's definitely a different
It
style
looks
head
like the
for
virtual
Gundam.
on games maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it is
Alright.
virtual onish, really.
There you go. Okay, so that's two HGs you showed today, and that gives you two HGs to show next week.
Okay.
Fair enough. Now it's going to be my turn. Well, I've got two MGs here, but I'm going to talk about
Master
this one.
grade.
Yeah, you can see some people were questioning if they could build the frame without the vinyl covers on it.
Right.
And I think, oh yeah, you can. So I went ahead and I did it. And there you go. But I'll talk about all that in more detail here, as I gotta get all my parts and those vinyl joint covers, frame covers, all ready to go. So give me a second and get it set up here.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, here we have the full Armor Ver Ka Thunderbolt version. I've got the completed one that we showed on the Gunpla TV episode when we did the review, and I've got one which I started again because I wanted to show somebody some of the tricky areas, because I think there's a lot of concern about just how difficult this kit is. A lot of people were interested in this kit, but were turned off by having to use these what they call frame covers. Here they are. This is the long thin one which goes for the arm, and then you have the short fat one which you use 3 of for the leg. People were asking, can I build this kit without the frame covers? Well, you can here. I'm going to zoom the camera in so you guys can see a little better, and I'm going to be working in these small spaces. So here you can see it's the full joint. It will bend, no problem. And I can put here, you can see the armor on, and down here I will be able to put the armor on as well. I do not need these frame covers to be on the legs for it to work. You will be able to do it. Also, with the arms though, you can kind of build it, but there's going to be some looseness in here. Like they had this loose because if you have your frame cover in here and you start to bend it and it starts to crunch up maybe, well then this will need to possibly move a little bit. So I think they gave it this looseness, but that means that it will be a little loose if you decide to build your full armor without any of the arms on. But whoop, you stand over there, bro. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show people how to build the arms and then how to build the legs and how to kind of work with these frame covers. I'm going to make sure I get the camera angle right though, so just give me a sec to get set up for my super close-ups. Alright, let's try to work in this kind of space here. I think it's close enough that you guys can see what is happening, and yet far enough that I can kind of get my hands in and do some of the work here. So first thing we're going to talk about is the arms. Now you can see I've got this arm built here, and I wanted to try to build as much of the frame as I could to show people that yes, this does have an inner frame despite you needing to use frame cover joints. For the most part this has a complete inner frame, but there is one area where it actually doesn't have it, and that is the arm. So let me show you what you have for the arm frame. You have this piece here, and then you have the joint. So how they tell you to assemble it, I'm going to do the left arm, is they tell you to drop the joint in there. So you're going to drop, let's make sure I got my bend the right way. I'm going to do the left arm. You drop this in here like this. This will plug in here. There's a specific way to do it, so I will talk about that in a second. Then they want you to do this to get it straight. Now this is where you're going to start dropping on your frame cover. Here is the one that they want you to do. It's kind of long, right? What's going to happen here? Well, it definitely does not look anything like this frame cover does, and I have to make it look like that. Now, what Bandai has you do, and this is kind of innovative, I guess, is they give you these little things. These are for your not action-based stand, which you can mount your full armor Gundam on. You can use it as this one, single, when he's standing, or you can put them together and he would be flying, right? You are actually supposed to use these for this purpose, right? So what I suggest you do is kind of do that. Now, this is what Bandai prefers you do. However, we will talk about this a little bit because I think there might be a better way. So if you can kind of create that opening, yeah, you can then stick your corner in here. And what I was doing is I had it like this, right? And then they want you to bring it down to scrunch it up. Now, when you do that, you know, there's a seam here for your frame cover, and there's a seam here. And this is where it's strongest, so it's also easiest to grip. So when you're grabbing like this, then you're going to push it down, go, 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 go. You know, you're supposed to get it all the way down, go, go, go. You're actually kind of gripping the seam here. I have it at the top. And in some ways that might impede the ability for it to get completely scrunched. What happens is when you're done is you just kind of pull it off here. Now I'll just slowly, gently pull this piece off here. And then I have this kind of effect. Is it perfect? I don't know. I mean, I don't think there is a perfect way to make this effect, but I think it's how you use this after you've done this. However, I wanted to try an experiment. So I got out my Gundam marker, which is almost the perfect shape here for this. Now, when I do this, I don't really have the ability to grab, so I might have to like start it somehow, get it going. I thought this would work better, but maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will, as I'm going down, down, down against this. Might be the best way to do it. But I'm getting a lot of resistance there, and I don't know if it is worth it to kind of keep pushing on it. I definitely don't want to tear my frame cover, but it is definitely giving a little bit different of an effect, I feel. Not quite as bunched up. You can see it, so I'll push it down as much as I can. I mean, it doesn't hurt to do this, and you will be, and I need to warn people about this, you'll be cutting a lot of this part off once you have done it. There will be a lot of this that you do not need. So this is the effect that I got doing it this way. You can still see the seam in here, and this is important because you kind of need to know where it is, and I'll tell you why in a second. Here's the seam here, here's the seam here, but I am happy with how it looks in between here. And here I've got like the seam. It's noticeable, but not as noticeable. But in the middle there, it's maybe not as cool looking as that. Now I'll probably come back to this for the legs, and we'll see if it's sufficient. But what you do after you got this, and I might have to open it up a little bit, right? And it says, where do you open is the next question. You have to drop it onto your arm frame. And one thing I want people to pay attention to is the front, the back, of course, but the sides, and the sides might be the easiest one. What I want to do is I want to line up the seam on the side. If I line it up on the facing the front, it might, you know, it acts, how do you say? It's a seam. So what happens on this side of it might not happen on the same on this side of it. So when you bend your arm, it might, you know, not be even. Here I have a better chance of kind of this symmetrical look as the joint starts to bend. But I drop this on here, and I pull it. I'm gonna make sure I get a little bit of edge around here. I have to kind of wrap it around the bottom here, and you remember how long this was. You have a little bit of play here, so you're gonna wrap it around the bottom here, and you're gonna twist it up, twist, 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 twist. And if I can't get a nice tight fit there, then I'll pull it off a little bit more. But I do want to use as much of this as I can here. So I'm gonna wrap it up like so. Hopefully you can kind of see it there. Now I do have a piece that I need to slide on, which is actually going to hold it there. So if I can get this on and threaded properly, I can push this on. I push this on, and that peg there, I should push it on as far as I can go, and it should hold this here. Now obviously I have a lot of extra cover I don't need. I'll pull it back off like so, like so. Okay, and I just really want to make sure that this is up all the way, and there's a good reason for that. So using my hands, find the edge of the frame and push a little bit more, and okay, I'm in there. So now that I've got that, I'm supposed to cut off this excess here, but it says cut, you know, use this. If I go in here like this, there's a chance that I'm going to be cutting the peg underneath. So to avoid that, I'm going to take my design knife and I'm going to lay it in there and just cut along here. Now because I twisted up this piece, I have several layers to cut through, so we will go slow here, cut off what we can, and just by unraveling it I should be able to see it come off here. Now this looks pretty decent to me. I don't mind the look of this, and more importantly I have this little edge here visible to me, so because that plays a big part in what you're going to do next. So what you're going to do next is I'm going to take these pieces here. Now you are supposed to put a polycap in here, and I don't know if I grabbed it from my box before I started here, so I should probably look into that. But what you're going to do, I made the hand, is with these spaces here, you're actually supposed to place them, and this is where it's important to know where your bend is. My bend goes like this. you have to place them into the armor part here. Where's my bend? Goes like that. Here we go. Like so. I would place it in here like this with the polycap inside of it. And I still have a lot of range here. Well, maybe I want to push it down a little bit. You kind of need to. But if I push too much, and this is important because I made this mistake on one of the arms, you can see it here as opposed to here. You know, I wanted it to look bunched up. And so I pushed in there and I bunched it up. And what happens is, when you bend the arm, there's just too much of this cover in there, and it does not look good. So I'll grab the seam here just to pull it down a little bit, because you need to see this thing here. And this next part, you just kind of, you need to know where it is. You need to have this reference. And what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to bend this joint. But if you grab the cover to bend this joint, you're actually going to like stretch the cover down below where it bends in the back here. So you want to kind of bend the joint without pulling on the cover. So I have this effect. It's stretched out here. It's bunched up in here a little bit. Maybe if I want to have a little bit extra play in there, I can pull it down a little bit, but that would involve stretching it back out. I'm not sure I want that. Maybe I'm satisfied with this. Once you have that, you actually have to put on, let's do this because I should show it properly. You have these two small parts here and here. These go on either side of the elbow, like so and like so. Now, I need to put these into holes, which are somewhere in here. Where are they? Well, that's really hard to find out, actually. So, I took a toothpick, and I just kind of got an idea where things were here. Right? You have to kind of have it flat. There's one there. I can feel one there. And the next one is where? Where is the next one? I mean, it says you need to bend it first before you put these pieces in. There's one there. Move that out of the way though. One there and one there. Okay. So I've got my two holes here. What you're going to do is you're going to plug these tabs into the holes here, like that. And this is where you needed to have everything pulled out the right way, the right amount, because once you kind of push this in here, it's locking in the length here and here. You're not going to be able to pull any more of this length in or push any more of this length out. Where are you, bro? One, two, in there like so. So I'll drop this in as well. I'm going to fight through all this fabric. There it is. Pump, pump. Once you get that done, you have your next piece to slide over the top here. So I have the seam here and I have the seam here. This is where I want them because I do not want them facing the front, although underneath here it's not such a big deal. But you don't want to twist it up either in there because it'll bunch up and you won't be able to slide the pieces on that you want to slide on. So I have this part here. I will make sure that I can get it on. Right now, you will need to slide it on like this. If you want to like kind of scrunch this up, you may need to, just to kind of get this through here. Slide it on. And remember, this part is loose in here, like on this arm, this part is loose in here. So this can get tricky because you're not sure how far you're supposed to put it on. So you stretch out this arm, hold this here, push this down. You might want to little bit feed things towards the center here, but if you do too much, then you're going to have the change in the look here. So I don't want to create any kind of artificial seams here. Come on, you. There, I got that kind of where I want it here. I got it up, and once I kind of get it up to where it's supposed to be, if I feel that it's not far enough down, I can pull it about up a bit and then take some more of this length out like this. This changes the look in here. Maybe pull it out a little bit more. Okay, and let me put that back in. Am I satisfied with that kind of look? Well, if it bends, I get this kind of look. I get this kind of look in the back. It's not terrible. You know, it's much better than what I had when I bunched it up. I don't mind that. Here, I like the bottom better than the top, but it still, it works, and I still get all my articulation because it's not bunched too crazily. Although, that might get in the way. Okay, so once I have that, I need to bend this joint this way. However, like I said before, if I grab here and bend it, I'm going to be stretching here. So you kind of want to be able to grab your piece here, and you're going to bend it, right? So now I didn't stretch this back here, which is important. Yes, you'll see a little bit of seam here. So if you wanted to in here, you could have turned it a little bit. But once you get the shoulders on, this view in here isn't really, I don't know how you say, something that you need to pay particular attention to. So I'm going to stretch this out a little bit just because I have one more piece that I am supposed to put on here. And I kind of need to stretch, wrap this up to do that. Once I get this on here, I need to get this piece here. Where is it? This piece here. Now, if you don't have, like on this arm, if you don't have the vinyl cover in there, the frame cover, this piece will actually kind of float in there. So let me put that on. Let me put this on. I'll turn it even if I need to while I put it on, and I really need it to go all the way in here. And you'll think that, oh, I got it because it doesn't work, because it doesn't go anymore, but you don't. It really has to go all the way, and this is really important when it comes to fitting this peg into the torso. You need this to go all the way down as much as possible. So I've bent this here, and I've wrapped it up, right? And I need to make sure that this goes on as far as possible. Put it in like this. Open this up. This will move. That's not uncommon, actually. This is what I think I found to be the trickiest part, because this will always move and you're usually holding on to it, so you kind of have to hold back here while you're pushing and pushing and pushing and bending as much as you can. You so badly need as much of this peg out as possible, otherwise you will not get this connected to your full Armor Gundam torso. Okay, and once you get that, you just cut off the extra. Now I must have a bunch wrapped in here because usually you have more sticking out the top, right? So I'll give it one more try here, because hey, gotta make sure everybody can see what I'm doing here, right? It's like one big experiment here. I've done this before. Okay, that's a little bit more. I have to cut this all the way though. I'll probably be coming back to this and pushing it in a little bit more before I get this on the torso next, because it needs to be done. Okay, unwrap that. Okay, this should be enough for now. But now, the next part I want to talk about, if I had the polycap in here, I would attach my cool hand. I can still get it just by taking this apart now that everything's secured in there. You can see I can get this bend here. I have this effect back here. It's not stretching and kind of getting weak. It won't tear. And I have a nice buildup in there. Much better than I had the first time I did it with the seam in front. So it's definitely looking much better with this method. Now, you need to build the shoulder next, and you build the entire shoulder, and then you put it on here, and then you put it on here. However, I would advise you not to do that, because you need to see this peg as much as possible when you're plugging it into here. So here's what I recommend for building your shoulders. Here's the shoulder piece here. right? We've all seen these. This is just the main frame part, then you put your other parts around here. And that's what you do here. Here will be all the thrusters and then the white parts. Well, I'm just going to leave it like this, and I am going to put it on like this, and I'm going to push it as far as possible. All right, it gives me an extra little bit of leverage to push. This is important. It needs to go as far as possible, and I might be taking it back apart depending on how much peg I have sticking out, because that's the most important part of all. And you'll see why in a second. Trust me. Okay. Now here is why, because I'm going to get this on. Now what you need to do, they're telling you, you put the arm on this way, and then you turn it. That's fair enough, like we've seen that kind of design before, because there's a little edge here that lines up with a little groove here, and that will allow this to go in, and when you turn it, it actually locks the arm on, and the arm will not come off unless you go right back up again. However, when you have all the torso armor on, you can't actually see what's happening in here, and when you have the shoulder on, it's also tough to see things. So here's what I recommend you do, even if you've already assembled the torso. You can have all the armor on, that's not a problem. But get in here and open this up like that. And you can even do it, you know, you can see when it's all its armor's on, right? So now you can see underneath there. This is the easy way. I'm showing you the easy way. When you can see this, you will be able to see if you have enough peg to go all the way through. Because if you don't, then you're going to have to do some modification in here. Not like outside the realm of what you're supposed to do, but you will need to go back and readjust. So what I need to do is I need to line this up and I need to push it through. So it's supposed to be up, right? Everything's going to be in your way, but that cannot be helped because this is how you build this kit. So make sure that's lined up, make sure that's lined up. Push it on. And I need to push it on so that this piece, it's so hard to see, guys, I'm sorry. That little edge that stuck out, it needs to go all the way through. Because if it's not and you start bending it, you're actually going to kind of chip away at that edge. So I have almost got it. So I will push a little bit more, and if I cannot get it to go, then I will come back and do it. So, not bad. One more time. Okay, so, no. This should be down there. It is. This should be bent this way. It is. And I have this much extra that I can cut off that I had actually bunched under there before. So this is why I kind of go back and forth. Cut, evaluate, cut, evaluate. Now I'll take all this off here. Okay, there we go. There we go, there we go. Slap that on. When I first built this and I didn't have the peg in properly, the shoulder was just kind of flopping around. And I was like, what did I do wrong? That was what my first thought is, what did I do wrong? And then I discovered that I did not have the shoulder peg pushed in all the way, and it led into all those problems I had just trying to move the shoulder around. So let's get that in there, let's get that in there. You can even do this, and I'll show you guys actually. You can even do that. You can take this kit apart like that. Push on this way. There it is. And by doing that and pushing, it actually popped through. So now I have this, I can turn it all the way around, and I have not damaged any of that peg in there. Right? My shoulder is on there stiffly. Too stiffly. There we go. There we go. Like that. This is exactly what I want. The shoulder, once you build it on, it will be on there very sturdily. It's not going to flop around. This arm is locked in as it should be, and it's not going to break because that peg chipped down. And then I can put that back in, and I have my arm. Okay, so I have now completed an arm, and here's the effect I have when I bend it. Now, it took a little bit of effort, but I actually think that the result I have here looks much better than what I came up with when I was experimenting my second time on my second arm. So I actually think this looks quite good. It could probably look even better with some, on the next time I do it, maybe I'll have more extra up here. I don't know. But now I have the legs, and to do that I got to get out all the leg tubes. So Just give me a second. Alright, here's my leg, and I've done the same trick. I've used the Gundam marker instead of this piece that they told me to use, and I get a much more round effect on this piece. And you have to do for the leg 3 of them. So yes, the leg is a little bit more complicated than the arm, but there are areas that kind of help you secure things. So I don't need the foot. Let me take that off. Once you have the frame, again, you're going to be building 2 frames like the arm, and then you drop on the hinge, and just this is the right, this is the left, right? If I'm doing the right one, it looks like that. If I'm doing the left one, it looks like that. But you actually pop it right up like this. Now you kind of need to keep remembering which way this is facing, the inside. It's helpful. Remember, you want to know where the front is. Once I push that up here, I need to take my piece, and I need to push it down until a certain point, it says. So it's quite a journey this has to make. And remember, I want to watch where my seams are. I don't prefer them to be at the front here, right? So this is the front. This is the front. Let's get this on here. I really scrunch these down, so there is, it's not perfectly round, so it can, you know, take some effort to kind of get it down there. So I'm going to pull it down, and look, my seams at the front. What am I doing? Now what you're going to do is you have these little ledges in here, here and here. That's where I want these to catch. So I'm going to push them in there like this, and they need to catch here and here. If I can get them in there, then I can proceed to the next part. This reminds me of the PG Unicorn, where you were wiring up the LED, and they had these little areas where you definitely had to put things in here. So if I've got this on here and here, it's caught in there. The next thing I should be able to do is kind of secure it in there with armor parts. And the armor parts come on the J runner. And where did I put that J runner? There's so much stuff. J runner is the big one, so it should be the easiest to find once I move my stuff around here. Boom. I tried my best to put everything back in the box as best as possible because there's just so much of it, and then I didn't realize that I needed something from the mighty J runner. So I got 2 pieces here. This is J18 and J19. Oop. Oop. Okay. With these 2 parts, I can now get these pieces insecure here. So I want to secure it here. I want to check and make sure that they're not sticking out the wrong way, and they will impede this piece that has to go on. Although this piece, they will pretty much plunge with this little circle here. Sorry, they will pretty much plunge right through this cover, and you don't really have to worry about it. So I have this here. My bend is like so, right? So let's get this first part on here, and it goes on the side. So I will, sorry, I had to check where my front was. Once I know where my front is, then I know which part goes on which side. Like that, and like that. And this piece here goes first, and it should just drive right in there, like that. And then, definitely reminds me of the PG Unicorn. Drive that on here like this, on this side. Boop. And you should be able to close it. If you can't close it, it means you've got some frame cover in there, and it might make your life difficult. So now I'm going to take this and just kind of I don't know how you want to say it. I just want to get this bend effect back for now. Okay, so now what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to bend this joint. So I'm going to pull it up like this because I want to be able to bend this joint and have it kind of at its max. If I pull all this down here like I just did a second ago and leave it, then I'm going to have way too much there when I bend the joint. But if I grab it on here, and this is the same with the arm, and I bend it, then I'm stretching in here. So stick your finger in there and get the bend. Get the bend, right? It is stretched a little bit there, but nowhere near as badly as it could have been. So once I have that, I now can put more parts on here. I can put the side parts from the E-runner on. I might as well cut those off right now. They are number 21. I might have cut them off of the previous E-runner. Hold on, everybody. Going back to the E-runners. Here we go. Good thing I brought the whole box with me, because I thought, oh, I'll just take what I need. But I thought, no, I'll just take the whole box on my bicycle. Okay, so like last time, I want to find out where these holes are. Oh, there's one. If I need to, I'll look at this joint as well to give me an idea. All right. They seem to be very close together in here, so it's just a matter of finding this guy. It's diagonal right in here. Find where those are, make your holes, drop this in. No, it shifted. It shifted. That's not good. 1, 2. Okay, don't move. Don't move. Don't move. There we go. There we go. Now it should be fairly simple to do the other side, right? You would think. 1, 2. Okay. Now once you put these in, they're going to kind of secure your length, right? I mentioned that already. So when I do this, this length will never change now for the most part. Okay. Now with that on, what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to have this pulled down, and it's not exactly easy because there is little ledges in here like we saw down below. There are little ledges in here that I kind of have to clip onto underneath, but I can't see them. What it actually says I'm supposed to do is just to cut it. So if I've got the bend all the way, more or less like this, what I need to do is kind of, it says cut it in here, even if you can't see it. So, yeah, let's start like that. You cut it in here. When I was building this the first time, I was like, oh man, am I really going to cut off all this frame, man? I'm going to need that, you know, or this frame cover. I'm going to need that. And I didn't actually cut off very much. And I should have. I should have cut off as much as possible. Okay, so there it is. Even that might not be enough, but it will help. So I'm going to prepare the parts from the frame that I will need next, because I have to do some securing here. So I need the B7 and the B8. B6. Okay. I need to have this pulled down because it's supposed to catch underneath these edges here. So I'll pull it down. Alright. And you can see, hopefully, I'll try and move things out of the way here. There's this little lip here. That's where this goes. And the same on this side. I might as well open a little bit just to get underneath there. A lot of manipulating of these frame covers when you do the legs, much more than the arms. Okay, so I have it underneath those ledges, right? Well, then I gotta take another one of these things, and I have little ledges here and here. I have to get this on in there. And again, I'm going to watch where my seam is. I don't want to have unsightly seams in the wrong spot. Although in some cases it's really tough to get around that. So I got that on there and there. I'm going to say that, wrap it around a little bit, tuck it in. I'm going to say it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece, and this piece goes around this front piece here. And just like these pieces here, if it doesn't seem to want to close, it means you've just got excess in there. But I wouldn't worry about that part yet, because you can kind of work around that. Because what I'm referring to is, okay, yeah, these are kind of opening up, which means there's a lot of stuff in there. Let me just kind of push this here like that. I have now the luxury. Oh God, which one are they on? The E runner, E7 and E8. E7 and E8. I knew they were E. E7 and E8. I have the ability to secure these things with this armor. Now, this is kind of the only place you can do this, because of these pieces sandwiched together, and then this goes on from the front, covering both of them. So if I get it in there and I push and push, it will close this for me. Same with the back. It looks kind of open back here. Okay, if I put this on here and close it, and sometimes it takes some work, don't worry, because it's being pushed against, right? But if I do this, where are you guys? There you go. And you'll even hear that snap. There's a lot of resistance in there. These armor parts are not going to go anywhere. But I have this effect on my joint. Now I could have had a little bit more stuff out here, but if I have too much, you end up kind of with it looking kind of ugly, like just too bunched up. So I don't mind this part here, because it's bunched up back here quite nicely actually, and that's where the bend needs to kind of be witnessed here when you're bending the knee. I have all this sticking out here. Well, what you're going to do is you are going to bend. But remember, if I hold, this is where I notice, if I really hold this and pull it over, well, then you're going to get stretch on the frame cover here. And there's some sharp corners on the frame underneath there. So you kind of want to reach in here, find your joint if possible, and then bend it. So this is my, where's one? Left leg. This is my left leg. So this is my, I'm gonna bend it this way without pulling too much on that. Fortunately, it's not peg you're grabbing into. You can just stick your things in the hollow there and bend. And you can see there is some sharp corners in here. So if I would have grabbed the whole thing and turned it, that's where the stretching would have occurred, right? So now I have a lot of length here. I have a lot of it. Well, there you go. This gets pretty ridiculous, but I'm going to cut all this, or wind this all down here, and I'm going to get my piece that I need, which is actually just this ring. So here we go. And with this ring, I'm going to feed it on, and I'm going to push it on as far as possible. As far as possible. And once I get it on there, like this, well then I can, because it's flush and there's no peg, I can just grab my side cutters and cut, like so. And open this up. I can cut away this excess as well, but I kind of don't mind that there's a lot of excess in there, because when I plug it into the frame for the skirt, it might mean that I have a stiffer joint. If I need to, I can clear that up after. I'm not too concerned about it. I was mostly concerned about in here, and it's even kind of stretching now, so that's the area you really want to watch. Okay, so I've got the knee, and I've got the hip, and I have the ankle, right? So I have one more of these, and I have a foot here. Now I'll have to take this foot apart because I already plugged it in here, and I can't have that. So pop that off. Comes this way. Nice. Didn't expect it to be so difficult to take off, but that's probably a good thing. If I get my parts separated, I should be able to take them out. The whole thing. Don't even need it. Okay. You have to make, that's a nice stiff polycap. you have to make the joint. I'll rebuild the foot after. Not important. You have to make this joint. You have to plug it into the bottom, like so, and you have to bend it down. And then you're going to take your next piece, right? Watch where your seams are. Plug it in. There's your lips, or your edges. Drop it in there, like that and like that. Okay. This looks pretty decent. The ankle is not one you're going to see much of. I think the most important ones are the knees. But you still want to get the best effect you can, right? So I got this. Now I have 2 more frame parts that are going to go on from the front and back. If they went on from the sides, they would be able to hold it in a little bit better, I think. But they still do a good job. So once I get this here, this comes around this and piece slides on around that, and then this piece will meet it at the back, like so. Now I have this part here. What they want you to do is bend it, right? And again, if I bend it like so, I'm going to stretch this in here, so I'm going to try and grab this here, find my end, and bend it. I'll stick my finger in. There you go. And I have a lot of extra on this one. You will have a lot of extra, so start wrapping. I might even cut off a little bit of this. Wrap this up. And you have one more ring, a frame piece. Wrap it up like so. Slide on the ring. You want to make sure you get as far in there as you can. And once again, you're going to be cutting off any of the extra. There you go. And I just took the joint apart in front of the camera, so you have an idea already of kind of how it goes on there. But you do need to have it straight. If it's not straight, then it's not gonna connect to your joint properly. So you might have to adjust it in here if it's not straight. So I have that, and I can reassemble my foot really quickly here, like that. Now you will be at this stage, even with this on, putting on the red pieces, putting on the white parts, putting on the thrusters, and it's the very end that you will actually attach to the built foot, but I'm just going to attach it to the built foot already and not put anything on there because I want everybody to kind of see it. Alright, you have a lot of armor to put on, so let me get this on here. I want this baby to be able to stand up here. But that was it basically for, I think, how you should approach these frame covers, vinyl frame covers. Yeah, a lot of like little, how do you say, tricky areas, and like mostly the torso. If you, God, did I do that wrong? I built it as the wrong leg. But don't worry, because I can just fix that, because I haven't done it yet. Plug that in here. Still fits perfectly fine. There you go. So I have this done. It's finished. Everything is good. Maybe I need to move some stuff out of the way, some frame stuff out of the frame cover out of the way here if I want this to close a little bit. But that's the idea. Like pointers, I want to point out, of course, is the shoulder and how to get them attached. I want to point out not to stretch your frame cover as you're bending joints, and I want to point out that you can get a good effect by probably using something that's round as opposed to this skinny thing. And watch your seam. Put your seam on the inside, otherwise you'll see it back here and it's quite unsightly. So there you go. This is how I put on the frame cover. And I will just drop my hand on this dude. And there you go. Here is my... I'll pull the camera back, everybody. there you go. That's kind of half frame covered up. That's how I would approach the full armor version Ka. Thunderbolt version, if you're getting it for yourself. I highly recommend this kit. Everything about it is just new and refreshing, and really seems modern compared to some of the MGs we've been building over the last couple of years. So there you go. Check it out. Full Armor Gundam version Ka, Thunderbolt version. There you go. So that hopefully helps you with your own Full Armor Gundam Thunderbolt version Ka. If you've picked it up, you know how great it is.
Yeah.
If you picked it up but were hesitant to build it because of these issues, well, I hopefully I've explained them sufficiently that you lose the fear and you can dive right in. Okay. And if you're kind of on the fence about it, don't hold back.
Yeah, it looks like a great kit.
It's awesome. And once you get this done, you know, in a couple months we're going to have the, well, a couple months, probably December, we're going to have the Psycho Zaku.
Psycho Zaku.
But
so
we'll talk about
the
that.
Set.
The battle with their giant stands.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail because we got comments to go through.
Okay,
So
is it comment time?
It's comment time.
Are you ready for it?
I'm always ready.
Okay,
Yay.
let's begin then.
Okay.
All right, starting off with a comment by Kamatori. And
Okay.
Kamatori said, gimmicks out the wazoo on the RG Sinanju.
Yeah.
Really impressed at how well it holds together while looking oh so fabulous.
Yes.
Can't wait to get mine.
It does look good, doesn't it?
It does. It's a
It
snazzy kit.
It looks good right out of the box.
Right.
I've got it actually sitting by my desk there in the same kind of cool pose that I don't want to take it out of because it looks awesome.
Right.
And even the boss came by and goes, wait a minute, did you do something to this kit? And I'm like, nope, that's how it is out of the box. And he was staring at it for a while.
Right. That glossy plastic. All
And
those
that plated gold.
plated gold and glossy
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah.
I know some people don't like that gloss, but it really gives it a bling look if you're just building straight out of the box.
So many, you know, modelers who modify and paint and stuff like that, like they take time and effort to get a glossy finish on their kit.
Right.
But this is one of the few that you get just out of the box, and it's got that finish.
It's
Yeah.
already done.
It is good. It is good. Don't
It
miss
is
it.
good.
I'll just send you.
Buy
I'll
now.
go two.
You ready for the third?
Well, I'm still painting some parts on number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, number 1 is OOB, and number 2 is some customization.
All right. Look forward to seeing it.
I liked it so much I built 2 at one time. There you go.
There you
I
go.
like this guy.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
shall we move on?
Yep.
Next we have, how would I read this name? Queen Haosu?
King House,
King Haosu?
maybe.
And they say, great review of the RG Sinanju, said.
Thank you.
How are the nub marks on the RG Sinanju? What's your reaction on the RG Build Strike Gundam?
There you go. So there's 2 questions. Let's do the first one first.
Okay.
Nub marks. There's undergates on it. There could be more.
Right.
If you have a good pair of nippers, a lot of those gates you don't have to worry about. They, instead of painting like black, silver, and then overlaying a clear yellow to get the gold, it's on top of a yellow. So even if you cut off a gate mark there, underneath it, it's kind of yellowy gold.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's not undergated, but the effect isn't too bad.
Right.
There's only maybe a couple places where I felt that they put a gate mark in the wrong spot. And that was on the backpack. You could kind of see that big wing that shoots out the back. There was a little gate mark here and here. And those ones are noticeable, and the rest I felt were not really noticeable.
Okay.
With the black parts being all inset in there, you know,
Right.
you're never going to see gates on there.
Yeah, it'd be hard to see the gates on the side of those gold pieces with the black parts covered.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah, no, I didn't really have any issues with the gate marks, per
Right.
se. So I'm satisfied. So, question
Okay.
number 2.
Part 2.
We're going to talk Gunpla Expo now, aren't we?
Okay, so we
Okay.
kind of talked about it last episode.
Well, yeah, we kind of, how do you say, supined? No, not
supine.
supined. Supposition.
Supposition, foreshadowed.
Foreshadowed. We didn't know. We need to remind everybody that because we filmed that episode before the Gunpla Expo.
Right.
We were like, oh, what's it going to be? Well, Build Fighters is popular. Was it you
Right.
that brought up the idea that could be a Build
I
Strike?
think it was.
Do you know things I don't know?
I think
Do you
I
have an in the industry that I don't know about?
I
and I'm not
jinxed you.
taking advantage of? No.
It was
yeah.
a logical choice because they've done all these series, and
Yeah.
just one of these very popular series is just not present yet. So
Yeah, no, I can understand why they did it, especially with the series starting on October the 2nd.
yes.
Is it October the 2nd?
Well,
Yeah.
it's not like we got
When
like
is
a
it?
mini series type thing coming
Mini-series. It's
up.
like a one-off or whatever.
Right.
But that's the thing about Build Fighters is the the excitement is still there for it, that they can
Yes.
bring back a third thing. And, I'm not a big fan of the build strike in general because I had previously built the Ale strike. So building a kit I'd already built is not so exciting to me. However,
Yeah.
being an RG, it just looks so nice.
It does.
So even the build strike full package, it looked really nice. And the part I liked about it the best was the weapon.
Oh.
With the way they had the detail in the rifle there, which I don't recall seeing too much of when I built the MG version. It's going to be a lot like the Ale Strike RG. But remember, that kit came out, that was number 3 in the RG line.
So yeah, a bit
So
old.
that was back before they gave you the extra set of hands and things like that. So it's kind of probably be like the Ale Strike Plus, right? So, I mean, the Freedom was a good kit based on the same frame, I believe.
Right.
So, yeah, it's... I can say I wish it was something else, but at the same time, I can understand why they do it, and it's probably going to be pretty good quality. So I'm excited.
I'm sure
for
it'll
it.
be great.
I'm going to build it, and maybe it'll change my mind about.
Right.
You know,
And this
that
is
kit in
just the
general.
beginning of the Build Fighters RG line.
You're not supposed to say that, see? I'm hyping myself up here for it, and you have to say something like that. They'll build it. It'll be the one-off from the series, like they've done with a lot of these other ones.
Yeah.
And then they'll go back and they'll build something else. So remember, they have so many series to choose from.
They do.
Right. So
But these ones, they already kind of have some of the RG kits that they could use as a base for. So
yeah.
Amazing Zaku, Exia.
Next question. Actually, let's talk about the Gunpla Expo while we were there. Todd,
Okay.
you weren't there. It was Ryan and I that went down, but we talked about it
I
after.
was not there.
Did you see anything that really
Yeah, there
excited
was
you?
nothing that kind of. I mean, the RG was kind of like the big announcement. But other
Yeah.
than that, the Zaku. We
Yeah.
saw that Zaku, but we didn't see the RE. We
They still didn't release the RE
they
information.
didn't
That
know
comes next week,
information.
right?
Yeah,
25th?
I don't know why they didn't show it
Yeah.
at the show, but we didn't see anything about that. And I'm actually trying to remember what else there was at the show that now I'm forgetting about.
Well, the thing to remember about this Gunpla Expo is that it's the first time I feel they did a summer one in Tokyo.
Right. Usually it's
So-
November.
And usually it's November, and that's where everything gets kind of shown. You have the Tokyo model show in September, which will hint at things.
Right.
And then you have the November show, which kind of has everything. So this year is the first time they did that summer one. So
Right.
the fact that they had that many new kits actually was kind of exciting for me. So we had the new
Yes.
RG, we had the Revive, or
The
HGCE Strike Freedom.
Okay.
We
yeah,
had
that's
the
the
100 Barbatos Lupus, which we knew was coming, but we hadn't seen
We
yet.
knew that one. Was
We
coming.
had the prototype of the other 100, which
Right.
doesn't have a name yet. But that thing looks like huge. That thing looks
Mobile
awesome.
Suit A or whatever
Mobile
they
Suit
call
A,
it.
tentative name, that's what they call it, provisional name. There's a couple other build fighter kits there, the Glacier, what is it, the Transit Glacier Gundam, things like that.
Okay.
New Bear guys. So, as kind of an interval show between the
that's
Tokyo and the Gunpla Expo, I felt it was not bad. you know?
Okay, yeah.
They showed new things that we didn't know were coming,
Mm.
so we now know what's coming towards November, right? And then they also kind of hinted at more stuff to come. And of course, we'll see that there'll be announcements and there'll be the Tokyo Model Show. So
Right.
I came away there more knowledgeable than I was when I went in there.
Yeah.
Because usually the announcements come in hobby magazines and things like that. So at
Right.
least I got to-
Usually end of the month, always those hobby magazines.
yeah, but we got to kind of see them with our own eyes. So that was cool. That 100 Lupus looks pretty cool.
Yeah. And how about that cat guy?
The cat guy?
Was it the cat guy?
They had a cat and dog guy.
The cat and dog guy?
Yeah.
Just
well,
expanding the petite guy line.
exactly. It's easy enough. Just mold a different head,
Yeah.
right? So
Panda guy, cat guy.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get frog guy.
maybe. That'd be easy.
Yeah.
Frog guy. Bird
Keep
guy.
going.
Dun dun.
Bird
You can
guy.
do it. I liked it. It was good.
Okay.
It was a work day. Well, it wasn't a work day. It was a holiday, but
What kind of work day for you?
then I took another day off. So
Yeah. So the
I
next
just
one,
wish it was in Akihabara and not
Ah.
Ikebukuro. But
closer to the Carl's Jr.
yeah, it's the first time they've. It's not what you think it is. It's the first time they had the Explo, I think, in that building. Sunshine City or whatever, and I don't think they were prepared for what was going to happen, because when we got there, we're like, okay, let's ask if we can get in early. No, thanks a lot, Panda. So we had to line up, but by that time the lineup was too long. They actually were rerouting us down the fire escape stairs, so we're walking down the stairs only to turn around and walk back up. And it got pretty hot in that stairwell. There's no air conditioning.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
But they had to start letting us in before 9:30 because there was just too many people in the stairwells and stuff.
Right.
So hopefully next year they're a little more organized.
Okay, so
all in
maybe
all-
next year will be a year I get to go.
If you want to. Stand in the stairwell.
Stand in the stairwell.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Guess
It's
you
always
could
fun to
carry
see
the gear.
those kits. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was good. Lots
I
of people
don't
there.
mind going.
Yeah. Of course, I'm trying to crowd in there with my camera and this big light. People don't appreciate that. But hey, I was nice enough to like shine my big light on things so people could take their picture of it when I was trying to take a video. So
Always
don't
helps.
tread on me. Okay, next comment.
All right, so moving on here.
Yep.
Next is the Amazing RX-78.
Oh, I can see what you did there.
And they said, great video. Absolutely loving the Sinanju, and I can't wait to get my hands on this beautiful kit.
Yeah, it's awesome. So there you go. I'm glad some people liked our Anime Expo or Gunpla Expo coverage.
Yeah.
We actually got that video up really quickly, probably faster than we've ever done before. Because as soon as we left the venue, we sat down at Starbucks and
Okay.
there's me.
Stealing the Wi-Fi. Upload.
We can't steal the Wi-Fi. They wouldn't give it to us. So we had to hotspot our phones. But yeah, my phone was roaring hot. But we did it. Batteries
Gotta
running
know.
out in our laptops and everything.
1% on the phone.
That's
Upload.
Come on. Yeah, but we did it.
Finish.
I gotta catch my Pokemon.
It's Tokyo.
They're
There's
everywhere.
tons of
It's Tokyo.
Pokemon.
It's disgusting. My bag is full. Carry on. Next
All
question.
right, next up.
Yeah.
Enrico
Mhm.
Asanohoshi said,
Mhm.
loving the early type gun cannon they announced at Gunpla Expo.
Yeah, that's one thing we forgot to talk about.
Yeah, they showed that one too.
They showed 3 new Origin HG kits. Ramble Rolls Goof,
Right.
the Zaku 1, Char's Zaku 1,
Oh, that's right, the red Zaku one.
yeah, and the early type of the gun cannon.
Right.
And they all looked really good.
Yeah, they did.
Origin kits are great.
They are.
So yeah, I had to sneak past everybody who was looking at the build fire stuff because that was the first thing, and pushed my way through. And then there was the Origin wall, and I managed to get in there for some cool
Get some
stuff.
shots before
Yeah.
it was too crowded.
Yeah, it was pretty crowded. It was pretty crowded. But you know, one thing they did at the Gunpla Expo, they had like tables laid out, and you could register and sit down and build a Gundam.
Really?
Yeah, and I think they gave you the Gundam. Like it was in a black and white box. It was an RX-72. They had a projector on the wall showing the manual, and a guy with a headset on
Oh.
speaking, so his voice came over the speakers. And
Not Kawaguchi?
not I saw him there.
Oh, he was there?
You know what he usually does at those expos? He stands like this
Yeah.
until someone recognizes him and takes his picture. But I did see Kawaguchi Sensei and Kishiyama, who's on the development team. We see him every year. Shizuoka. They were talking for a little bit, but
Okay.
I think Kawaguchi Sensei put on a little weight. That's my impression.
Maybe. Yeah, I saw him at Shizuoka show one
Yeah.
year. I'm like, Kawaguchi, I take picture. We took picture together.
You know, I saw him at Kata Hobby. I think I mentioned this. This is a couple years ago, and they had set up tables where you could build your own Gundams and bring them and build them with him. And there's like only nobody there. He was
Really?
like sitting at the table.
Oh man.
And I thought, man, you chose the wrong event. Like this is Kata
Right.
Hobby. Everybody's cosplaying. I felt sorry.
You
for
should
that
have taken a
dude.
picture of him sitting at the table by himself.
I might have one somewhere.
Sad
Yeah.
Kawaguchi moment. He's a nice guy.
he's really nice. He is really nice. Okay, does that wrap it up for?
I believe that's it for
Okay.
the comments.
That means we have to give away some stuff.
Oh.
So, episode 212 it says here. Yeah, 212.
212?
Well, these are the ones I showed in. Yes.
Oh, that's right, because
Yeah. So. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Whatever. This is episode 214. I'm giving crap away. So sometimes I forget what episode we're on.
Ooh,
Remember
I
this?
remember that.
Grey Zine.
Okay,
Yeah.
who's the lucky
So,
winner?
You know, this is probably the lowest comment I've ever seen.
Really?
Number 3.
Ooh.
I think we had a number 5 last time, but number 3. And it's Tuki888. And he says SDEXs are cute.
Tuki.
Tuki! They are cute. So is the name Tuki.
Yeah.
So Tuki, you're going to get the Grey's Ein.
Congratulations, Tuki.
Yep. And I'll be contacting you. I'm actually going to start contacting everybody through HobbyLink.tv because it's easy for me to click on their name and just type a message. Also, the Grace Carter. Now, this went to, I believe it's comment number 60, but I didn't write it down, but I got the right comment here. Here's the Grace. This goes to B Nuts.
Be nuts.
Be nuts. And maybe he will be nuts after he realizes he's won something.
Yeah, go nuts.
It says, I'd like to see an RG Amazing Red Warrior. It shouldn't be nearly as fiddly as the Shinanju. I think we need notes on how to maximize that build. I wonder why Bandai chose the full package over the star build for the next RG though. So.
Well, I mean, they got to start with kind of the earlier ones and then move on to the others later.
What do you mean? Isn't the full package, didn't it come after the star build?
I think the star build was last in the
Really?
series.
I can't remember. One thing he says, it shouldn't be nearly as fiddly as the Shinanju. I saw a lot of comments.
Right.
People commenting, oh, I think the Shinanju is flimsy and fiddly and falls apart. And a lot of people are referencing YouTube reviews and things like that. Maybe some of those guys who were rushing through to get their YouTube video up didn't actually do a good build, a solid build. Maybe, who knows? I mean, it's not like perfect, of course. It has some issues, but I actually built it on the show, the live stream, and I thought, this area, I don't know what I did wrong. It doesn't feel like it should, and that's why I have a second kit. I went back and I built it again, and those areas which I thought were flimsy, I actually paid more attention to, and it actually felt sturdier the second time I built it. Right. If you're rushing through to build it like I did for a live stream or people are doing for their video review, you might miss something important, and then you're trying to show somebody a kit that falls apart. All in all, I think the Shinanju is solid for an RG, considering it's using a frame mint for another one.
Yeah, that was interesting, but
and if parts do fall off, doesn't break the kit. You just put them back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't let the fiddliness or people's comments about the fiddliness of the RG Shinanju scare you away.
Right.
And you saw it on the show.
And it's a great looking kit.
It is. It is great. So yeah, B-Nuts, thanks for your comments. We got to discuss the RG Shinanju more, so I'm glad about that. And I will be contacting him about the Carter.
Okay.
I have another kit to give away. Let me put these here now. We're all IBO right now, right?
We are. We're getting ready for a
new
new series.
They're decorating trains in Kyoto with like all the how do you say, vinyls.
Vinyls,
all
the decorations.
for the new series, which is October 2nd, so we're about a month and a half away.
October 2nd.
Yeah. So I thought, hey, let's just keep going.
Okay.
Let's
what
just
do we
give
got
away
here? Oh.
IBO stuff. Yeah, so this was my 1/100 kit that I built. You built the other one, the Trooper.
I did.
So, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give away my Kimaris.
It's
Yeah,
cool.
I'm putting that
This one
pressure on
comes
Todd
with
to
the
give away
booster.
some of his stuff, but
Well,
he never does. He never does. So yeah, I've also got the the stuff parts that came on the runners for the this is the frame that can be used for the Barbatos, but I will be just giving this entire thing away. There you go.
Booster.
So there's a Kimaris and a booster and
This thing would look great with the balls.
You know what? People are calling you out. Can you see the comments? People want to see your balls, Todd.
I know. Everybody wants to see my balls.
Yeah. Yeah. So you might have to put up or shut up.
I'll bring one. I'll finish one eventually. Soon.
You're like those guys that keep commenting on every YouTube video multiple times that we put up, and they're like, I want to see this, and this, and I've got like 5 of these. Oh, but I haven't built anything yet.
Right. Well, I am actually.
Put up or
building
shut up, people.
I'm building one now, actually.
Yeah.
It was on my desk.
I didn't see it. Okay.
Well, they're small. It's hard to
It's hard to see your small balls, Todd.
hard to see my
She
small
said.
balls.
Okay, so
HG, not master grade.
1/100, baby. So
Perfect grade.
I don't know if they're perfect, but I have been complimented. Okay. We should stop. This is getting out of hand. Next week, you're going to have 2 HGs.
I do.
Bring
They're
back on
already
the show.
finished, so
Yep, sweet.
I'm ready to go.
I think one of us will play around with this and we'll have this to show. We might bring back some other stuff as well.
Okay.
And then, of course, the kits towards the end of the month, we have that still unnamed red HG kit from the side story of the...
Was it unnamed? Wasn't it Astroth?
What's an Astroth side story? Astroth. Yeah. Originally it was unnamed though, right? It was originally provisional name or something.
Yeah, they're all provisional names.
Yeah.
I think.
So anyway, we're gonna be getting that. So we'll be showing that in the show.
Okay.
And whatever else we can get our hands on in the meantime.
Sure.
So all right. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. We'll see you later.